The Center for Conscious Ascension, we help people discover the truth of who they truly are at a soul level. We help them discover their spiritual map of life with the soul contract reading work.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. I'm so grateful to be with you. Wow, you're going to get to know a lot about me and a lot about my guest as well. We're going to be talking about relationships decoded, and we're going to decode our relationships. We're going to decode who we are. You're going to learn more about that. And more importantly, in that process, you're going to start to glean the opportunity to see more of the dynamics that might be happening in your relationships, and also the opportunity to work with Nicholas's amazing system in ways that you can connect to right away that will give you the information that you're looking for in your relationships that could be a total game changer for your life. So we're looking forward to sharing that, much later in the show. But I wanted to just let you know that's available because that's exciting. I'm like, wow, because I'm really looking forward to hearing more about what Nicholas has to say about me and our relationship, and learning more about him too through his chart that he'll be sharing too through what we're doing today. I'll let him explain it all, so I don't say it wrong. I don't give it to you wrong. But Nicholas, it's so wonderful to have you back on the show. You've been one of the most popular guests we've ever had on the show. I'm so grateful you're back on today.
Okay, thanks for having me, Daniel. Looking
All
forward to
right.
this part two, going deeper, building upon our part one. When did we do that? That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, part one was, did we say it was four or is it 4 years ago, that long ago? I don't know.
It's a while
Forget
ago. I think you have the link on the bottom of the YouTube channel anyway, won't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 because we definitely did a deep dive on me. I remember that time. So
yeah.
you guys are curious about how deep you can get to know about yourself, more importantly, but you'll also have the fun of learning more about me. You can check out that show and all the wonderful things and how accurate, what Nicholas and his team does. You just have to go ahead and take advantage of that as well. And I know like some of you you love this stuff, right? You love like my design, human design, this and that. Well, this is like a high level of all that stuff, a more precise high level of all of it. So, all right, so Nicholas, yeah, let's talk about everything. But yeah, what do you actually do? Like again, like I didn't want to explain it, so I know there's numerology, there's this, there's that, there's the different aspects to what you do. I'd love for you to explain to the audience, like, what do you and your team really do?
The Center for Conscious Ascension, we help people discover the truth of who they truly are at a soul level. We help them
Mhm.
discover their spiritual map of life with the soul contract reading work to find out through decoding their birth certificate name in whatever language it is into ancient Hebrew. We use 22 ancient Hebrew letters, and then within those letters, the Hebrew numbers are inherent, and we decode them on the Star of David, as we did in part one of the show, and revealed everything about Daniel's life. It can reveal everything about your life. So you can find out um, the meaning of why you're really here. I mean, light workers, spiritual seekers, we all sort of start off in life, we go to sleep, we forget we come from God, from Source originally. Wake up in this matrix and thinking, there is something badly wrong with this place. I don't know why I'm here. What am I doing here? And we feel a bit abandoned by God and our supposed family. Most of us feel like orphans who've been adopted by a bunch of people we don't necessarily get on with, and thinking, well, what's happening? And we feel deep in us there's a real purpose, and no one's telling me. No one's telling me what it is, and we go and search for that. Like I was searching as a kid. There's got to be more to it than just going to work and getting married and careers and education. No, and I asked everyone. No one knew the answer. Then I realized they're not hiding it from me deliberately. They just don't know. They
Hmm.
don't know because I was searching for my soul purpose, what was authentically my reason for being alive. And the soul contract reading work helps us get to that true soul purpose, that hidden thing. And when we hear it, when I had my soul contract reading from Frank Harper, the founder of this work back in 1990, it was one of the most profound moments of my life because he explained why I was here to be a spiritual teacher, to empower others, share knowledge, raise consciousness in the world. And that's what I'm doing now, 36 years later, still. Um, and before that, I was in complete chaos, bouncing off the, the padded room of the Matrix. Life was chaotic. It didn't work. I had no idea what was going on. And once I had that reading, it was like, there is a divine order here. And once I started to understand that, I could start to flow with my chart, start to address the issues which had been hidden from me deep in the recesses of my ego. And it wasn't going to let it go easily, but it shone light into all my deepest unconscious programming. Then I managed to start to clear some of it and move forward in life to get to the point now where I'm much more aligned with my soul destiny, is what we call it in soul contract reading. And life flows and opens compared to a life which was very stuck and hard and miserable, I would say. I think I was depressed most of my life at that point. I didn't know that until I started coming out of it, having done my own work. So the purpose of this work is to live the exceptional life, step out of just the survival in the matrix, just going through the motions, which most people do, being emotionally disconnected from my work. 90% of people are emotionally disconnected from their work because it's not aligned with their soul destiny. Into moving in alignment with my soul and doing fulfilling work. I left the corporate world. How long ago was that? Quite a long time ago, 97. So 29 years ago, and to do something much more fulfilling. Um, I'm happy to get out of bed in the morning and help people awaken. Um, Happy to have worked through a lot of my karmic patterns, achieved quite a few of my goals, and bring my talents online and become conscious and joyful. Um, so it was worth it just for that alone. And one of my greatest pleasures is seeing other people awaken and align and go through the same process, escape from the matrix. So that's what
Yeah.
the essence of this work is about. And in understanding ourselves, we're going to build upon that from part one or 4 years ago. We're going to talk about how do two people who are awakening in the matrix interact with each other? Or maybe one's awakened, one learning the work, and those close to them are not so awakened, partners, family, friends. How do they interact? That's what we're going to explore today. We're going to explore the deepest hidden energetic interactions between people to create the relationships the way they are and how to navigate that, because that's our greatest challenge. What's going on and what do I do about it?
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today. Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's so funny to have so many comments on it. But I put out an email today and it's gonna come across really fearful. I even put in there, I know you guys are gonna think this is just a fearful email, but I talked about the Matrix. I referenced the movie and says, yeah, we're gonna need to be more like Neo in the Matrix, more the Jedi Knights and everything. We've got to be because I really believe there's these control mechanisms that want to take over. One of the big ones is, with combining, so many ways we could look at it, but like through the AI, like giving our power away to these things in a way that does not work. Now, we're the infinite source and power, and we can create and mold everything, but we have to wake into our power to be able to do that. Otherwise, we just fall asleep. We're like, I don't know who I am. AI seems to know a lot. Let's just gotta do whatever it tells us to do. Oh, yeah, good luck with that. Every time I just trust an external source, whether it's AI or something else, it almost never works out that well, right? Almost never works out very well. Like if I trust the external source. Now, if it aligns with my internal authority or whatever, however we want to put it, like then okay, yeah, of course, because it came from my authority ultimately, right? My sense of connection, my sense of yes, my sense of that's the direction. When I'm like, I don't know. Let me listen to you, and that never works. So I think like that's what we have the opportunity once we understand ourselves and we understand more about how we're divinely, aligned. I know from the last show, like there's so many keys of how to navigate this reality. I know one of mine is overall is to be in the moment. Like I've got a call coming up later today for some people that are showing up to live their greatest calling and everything. And I'm talking about like we've got to create this multidimensionally, first. We got to really step into that multidimensional self. And then I'm like thinking, and then my mind wants to go linear again, right? Like, okay, how am I going to do the call? And I'm like, wait a minute, we're doing this multidimensionally. I don't have to have it fully structured. I can just show up. I've got some ideas of where it's going, but I get to trust my design because I always find like I do way better when I just trust everything in the moment is one of the keys. And I'm sure, I don't remember everything you told me last time, but because it's been a few years, but I know like that must be in the chart, so to speak, or in the reading. So knowing more about those things can help everything to work better because the way I'm wired up or whatever, the way I am is not the way you are, David, or the way someone else is. We might have some commonalities, but we don't all operate the same way. So to have our relationships work well, it's good to understand myself. It's good to understand you, Nicholas, in this case, or whatever it may be the case in a relationship. And then we can find, imagine within how you do it, I don't know, but like imagine that we can find better ways to connect and communicate and work together with each other, right?
Yeah, the idea is to create um, enhanced relationships and flow with the hardwired way each person works, because we can't help the way we are, but we can burn through some of the karmic and goal issues that are in our chart, which are here to be overcome to become positive qualities. And so when you flow with somebody, like in parenting or in relationships, the relationship becomes more harmonious because there's some things they're going to do and they can't help them because a lot of what goes on is not conscious. It's just it's in our soul contract is contained in a substance called karmic matrix, which is interesting. It's called karmic and matrix. It's this grey cobweb substance that the soul programs the frequencies of our name into. It's at the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional level, and this radiates out to the matrix, and the matrix rearranges around it. This is actually the true mini disc you see in the movie. And
Hmm.
two people can be in the same room and have a completely different subjective experience because their matrix, karmic matrix, is creating a different subjective experience. You see,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah, totally.
yeah, and when people, two
There may be a
people,
shared experience. There may be a shared
oh
experience,
yeah,
right? When people are awakened, especially, boy, or even in delusion too. But we may have a shared experience, but we're never seeing everything exactly the same way, for sure.
no, not at all, not at all. And we are we attract people, certain people at certain times into our lives because the karmic matrix forms a cord. It's going out, they're going out all over the place into the matrix. And a certain timing is when you've reached a certain degree of development, they trigger for two people, and then you pull someone new into your life. Might be your first or second wife or some other learning process, or your kids or friends or or not parent, brothers and sisters. They pulled in and they attracted. They're attracted and they come into your life because literally your own matrix pulls them in when the time is right. And then you do a karmic dance of learning. You see.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why the more we can get past our own self-judgment of ourselves of whatever thing we're into, because I feel like even if you're judging other people, like, which isn't the vibe of the people listening in, they tend to judge themselves probably more than other people ultimately, even though they may have carry a lot of judgments. But like ultimately, like you're right. I mean, like to make peace, because yeah, there's things that come up for you and me, Nicholas, on a semi-regular, regular basis in relationships. We're like, what's going on here? What's the deal with this, right? Why is this coming up? Why is this happening? Like all that stuff, and then we get to wake up. Oh, okay. I guess it's kind of at some level, this must be for me because it's here, like there's something for me to look at, it's happening for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing is ever done to us, even though it can feel like it.
Right,
It's
right.
it's actually us at an unconscious level pulling our souls pulling in certain experiences. So it's how we react to it, how we can become conscious. Well, what is the learning here? And a lot of the time we don't like what's happening because it's challenging to our ego. But if we can embrace it, not saying it's going to be any easier, let's become conscious of what's going on in that relationship situation, love relationships, or in all the other ones we have, then we can flow with it and get the learning from it. Because
Hmm.
um, relationships are the greatest workshop on earth. You don't have to go off and sign up for a weekend workshop. Just being have all these different people around you interacting, that's going to teach you a lot because they will
Hmm.
do exactly what you need in the moment. A lot of the time you don't like it. No one does.
Right,
And say, okay, what am I learning here? Once we learn what am I learning, we can get on with it. Then the issue works through a lot quicker. The more we resist it and push it away, the stronger it gets. Like, some people have three ex-partners who are exactly the same because they didn't get it the first and second time.
right.
Okay. So, and once we've got it the third time, then the next relationship, if there's one, is different because we learnt it.
Right, right. Sometimes you're right. It takes about at least three relationships sometimes for some of us are like, okay, all right, I'm actually learned enough of the lesson, or I've learned this lesson. Now I'm ready for the next thing, so to speak. And so, yeah, I mean, again, I mean, I love the saying, all the different sayings. I mean, there's some sayings around like, well, just the wisdom of like we didn't incarnate experience like infinite bliss and wonder only. I mean, like if that were the case, there'd be no need to be here, right? So like,
Well, yeah, don't bother coming. Stay
right.
home. Stay
What's
home in
the point?
heaven. Feet up, chill out.
It's like let's go to a haunted house, when they put together, all of it's not real, right? Let's go to it, but never pretend that we're scared, right? Or, it's how I look at it. We're really pretending we're scared. We're not really scared, right? We're in the simulation, right? Like there's so many different ways we could look at this, but like haunted house, oh my God, whoa, it scared me. And there's no sense going there if you're just like, yeah, this is totally boring. There's nothing going on here. Like, there'd
Well,
be
that's
no
why
big,
that's why they make it real. That's
right,
why this is a very intense, polarized reality, this matrix. And it's very intense so that we get a true emotional reaction because that's how we learn. Because we come into a body at a soul level, and the intense emotions we go through in this human body is how the soul learns. If it if our ego was conscious, it was just the matrix the whole time. So, oh, I'm not going to do anything. But then what happens is people come at you, and I better do something, or I'm going to be creamed. So, so it has to be as real as possible. So that initially we engage when we're less conscious or asleep, we have to engage with it as if it's real because that's how we get the learning. But as we wake up, get more conscious, we can start to observe ourselves and from the third person thinking, well,
mm-hmm,
that's an interesting reaction that I'm going through. So at
mm-hmm,
least we have a little bit of a pause, a few microseconds to see what's going on. I'm reacting this way, same way as I did when I was 2 or 3. My girlfriend's
mm-hmm,
shouting at me, just like my mother did, or whatever.
right,
But we're aware of us reacting, and then we can go and transform the program, creating it. And that's how we grow, you see.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
we become an observer. So we're not sort of face, our face is right in on the ground. We're splattered out because of some heavy duty karmic thing that ran. At least we're standing up, a bit muddy. Okay, I can see what's going on now and start doing something about it. So there's less chance of it happening again. So that's how we get the lesson.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. I mean, so, I mean, if I would say, yeah, the number one relationship really is again with our connection with the infinite, through you do what you do, right, with the readings and everything you do. And then for me, I do scanning as like a foundation of what I do. And so with the scanning, I know that the first relationship is what's your relationship with life itself or the divine or the infinite source? Because that's filtering, that's sort of the primary relationship. Now, if your relationship is askew with the source creator energy itself, and you just see it spiral out in every direction, right? In your life with people, right? I hate people. Deep down inside, you're like, I hate life. I hate life. It's like it's really no, but I love animals. That's what it is. I love the animals. Okay, but no, I mean, like a slice of the pie of life. I mean, there's so much sense of protest, and I don't want to be here, right? I get that from a lot from light workers, like in their subconscious and conscious minds, don't want to be here. Why the struggle? Why the difficulties? I just want to be connected. I just want to be back in the light, right? And they don't always appreciate at times, these relationships and the sense of challenge. And, I've always tended towards like, give me the challenge. I'm ready for it. I tend to be more in that vein, and of course I'm like everybody else. I seek comfort too, but there's that part of me that's my mom would be asking me like, why are you doing that? Why are you going into outside sales? You're not a sales. You don't like sales, right? Like I says, well, no, I like the idea of sales. Maybe I am introverted, but I want to explore myself. I want to develop myself. And she always thought that was crazy. Yeah, just do what comes natural to you. Don't even try to develop yourself like that. And it was more like a little bit more like that. And I'm like, no, I know I need this. This is what I need. This is going to strengthen me, right? And so that's how relationships are. Like I think like so many people and friendships, relationships of all sorts, not just marriages, all kinds of relationships because it got challenging. And it's like, damn you, I'm out. And sure, certainly we're meant to move on but if you end the relationship that way, you're just going to recreate it, right? So it's
Yeah,
just
well, you haven't because you haven't learned the lesson, you see. Yeah.
right, exactly. Exactly. So it's not really done. The relationship isn't done. You thought you ended the relationship. It's not done. It's the relationship's still going on.
Yeah, same person turns up, they just look a bit different, but you don't realize you think they're different
Right.
initially, but
Yeah, yeah.
then the same program's run if you haven't worked it through because the what creates our way we relate to others, especially in love relationships, is that the act of being born here on earth, we have our ego
Hmm.
feels three separate things: abandonment by God, lack of trust in God, because God dumped us on the third rock from the sun out of the womb where we were connected to God, and unworthiness to be loved. I must not be worthy to be loved because God dumped me on this rock. Okay. And our ego is made up of those three components in a unique balance, and that creates the whole ego construct. And then we've got our childhood, that lovely learning process of intense karmic stuff happening, which shapes us. So, and there's two aspects of God we separate from Mother and Father God. Okay. And the way we separate from Mother and Father God is the way we relate to our love partners. So if we feel serious separation from Father God and the way we're born, where we disconnect, or where the ego disconnects, okay, because the soul, remember, the soul's neutral. It sets all this up. It's just having to feel it and observe it. We, the conscious personalities, have the free will choice on what to do. Okay. If you find this sort of work, or human design, or any other divination tool that helps, you get a lot more conscious and you get through it a little more easily. So if say a woman felt abandoned by Father God, she'll create men like her biological father will not be present. He may be a workaholic, she may have never met him, or he may have left. It might have been a divorce. So she will create that throughout her life, and the key to resolving it in a series of relationships is to heal the wound inside of the ego feeling separate from Father God. And when that is healed and she feels reconnected, then what happens is that her external relationships with men change. You get men who turn up and hang around. They're not going to abandon her or abuse her. This goes for men with their mothers. Okay,
Right.
man
Right.
feels disconnected from Mother God in the way he's born. Okay, in the way that it's all in the soul contract. He'll help create women who are going to abandon him or abuse him or disempower him. There's all sorts of combinations, but these are the two extremes I'm demonstrating here. So healing the inner wound with the divine feminine for a man is the key to external, peaceful, connected, long-term relationships with women. And for woman, healing the wound with the divine masculine to heal their wound with the external partners to turn up, because we can only attract to us the people who are going to reflect where we are in our journey of reconnecting to Mother or Father God, or both. Sometimes people have been by both, so they might be adopted, lose both parents.
Right.
So the journey of life is to come and embody, go to sleep, feel disconnected, and then define through the process of relating how to reconnect to Mother and Father, or either one, God. It's the whole purpose of coming, and to take that visceral experience of being separate and disconnected or abandoned or unworthy or like not trusting God, to moving back into the positive aspects of feeling reconnected to God, trusting God, feeling worthy of God's love. That is the purpose of life, to find our way back in consciousness to Mother, Father, God through ascension, which is raising our frequency and consciousness to reconnect to Mother, Father, God. That's why we come. That's actually the real meaning of life, just that there are many different flavors of how we go about that journey.
Let's talk about that some more, what you just said, because I didn't even quite sink in for me completely what you just said at the end. So, so we've come here, explain that last part. So why we've come here and what
We come as let me see if I can find a diagram.
those of us looking on video, we're showing things on the screen, so make sure you check it out on YouTube too if you're listening on audio.
Better show a picture for the what I just described then. You know how you have in a big shopping mall those maps saying you are here. Well, you are here on Earth.
Yes.
You are here.
Third dimension, yes.
You are here in the third dimension. Okay. We come from source in the 12th dimension in this model. This is pure consciousness, pure light. And so how did we get here? How did this matrix come about? Well, source wanted to know itself. Source was just a soul which has created this universe, which we'll all do eventually. It takes a long time, obviously. And it wanted to know itself, and it thought about it a lot. Then it realized thinking is not doing me much good. So it thought, I have to have a feeling experience of all that I am. That was a breakthrough point for Source. So what it did is it started to densify, drop the frequency of itself, and it created the 11th dimension, different frequency of reality. And then it went all the way down to 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, down to the 5th dimension, which is the last place where you can feel unified with all that is, Source or God in a spiritual sense. And then it started to create individuated souls down here in the 5th, 4th dimension, the astral plane. Okay, and these individuated souls started to create, embody in physical bodies, really this is densified light, so we could be as separate from God as possible. Okay, and to see we can wake up, as I was saying earlier, and return, and it created an ego construct around us, created by the soul contract, that believes it's more powerful than God, when actually it's terrified of God. And the idea of life is to become conscious of your ego construct, which is the filter of how our soul interacts with the world, and to gradually dissolve it. So understanding it's the first thing, which is why we have the soul contract work, and start to dissolve it and open up a connection through the higher dimensions, through healing. Okay, these are things called divine healing. There's another body work called light body integration, which removes a lot of the structures and beings that create this sense of separation from God. Like a lot of people say there's no God because they can't feel it. And that's done deliberately in this matrix. And so punching a hole through this interference zone in the lower octave of the 4th dimension, it's made of astral beings, to gradually journey in consciousness and rising in frequency to get back to God over eons. Okay? It takes a civilization billions of years to move from the 3rd dimension all the way back to source. Billions. Each civilization, each planet is unique. And it was created to see, can it get back to God in consciousness? So the soul contract reading work explains what's in the ego construct and explains what is the pathway for that individual to get back to God. Okay? And so part of that involves meeting other people we're contracted to meet, having interactions with them. Yeah, as part of our learning process, dissolving our own ego. That's why we have these key relationships, and we're connected to them with this karmic matrix. All so that we can go back home. And often we've done this journey with these souls many times. That's why they seem
Hmm.
quite familiar. We have a contract to meet, as I said earlier, to
Hmm.
collectively grow and go home to God. And ultimately, the idea is to take the whole civilization back to God consciously. That's the big picture of what's going on. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I haven't heard it in that exact way at all before, so I think that's really cool. Uh, so yeah, being in this density is a way for God to know more about itself, is what
Yes.
I'm hearing. What was really interesting, this idea of God or source is what we're calling it, um, that it itself is a soul, which then evokes the question, is there something, are there other, higher dimensional beings that, are beyond like the source that we know, like, or at another level or whatever. I don't know how to put that, but it's just an interesting question that came to me after you.
Well, say this is our universe here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ours is the soul of our God. It's the love universe. There are lots of other universes out there created by different
Mm,
souls. They have different rules,
mm,
power universes, and each exploring specific themes. Okay.
mm,
And most of us
mm,
stay in one universe, but some of us move across from one universe to another, which is why we may feel out of sorts in this universe.
right, right.
Okay. And so our soul will be a product of life on another universe. As might have gone through all the experiences in that universe, and it comes and creates this universe. Okay. So this is not the only universe. Okay.
Right.
I remember in one of the Men in Black movies, at the end, they showed that they're in a like a locker at the train station. And it was quite clear they were saying there's lots of different lockers, lots of different matrices or universes. And this is just one of them. Right? So I guess what they're trying to say. They're trying to say is a different one in each locker. Okay.
Yeah, wow. I mean, so the source is so the source is source in every case though, right? I mean, but there's these different
Well,
so that's a whole nother fascinating conversation we could get into. Uh yeah, like how many souls are there a source, you wonder like
it's hard. Well, this source here, this is the
yeah.
source of our universe. There's lots of other ones for other universes, but I think for the being in a body at our level of consciousness, it's hard to grasp even what this means.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, let alone that there's more of them. Then you ask the
Mhm.
existential question, well, where does it all come from? Um, I don't think it actually matters. The fact that it's here is the main thing. And what do you do with it?
Uh-huh.
What do you do with what is here? How do you
Hmm.
understand its rules? How
Hmm.
do you understand what we have created for ourselves at a soul level? And how do I navigate that?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Right. Right. And the portal towards some people call it ascension, you do too, um, is through our relationships, right?
Well, what's one of them? One of the major
Yeah, yeah,
learnings is our relationships. It's the love and any other ones. They're the most important learning workshops in our lives. Okay. We learn the most in the intensity of relationships. Therefore, we dissolve our ego faster. But it is challenging. It
yeah.
is challenging. But there's good stuff there as well. But it's very
So
complex.
when we're healing and we're deepening in love, and all that stuff, that's all part of us, growing, evolving, and all that, right? I mean, like we're beginning to awaken, and we're not, we start realizing there's something more to life than like what seems to be the transactional 3D world, right? So we start awakening like, well, there's this universal love thing, and like even if you didn't believe in a God, right? Like maybe there's something beyond this, right? And you start having those experiences of like, I just feel like I'm connected to something bigger, right? All those sorts of things start opening more and more. And but yeah, I mean, be able to navigate like this whole path by knowing who you are, right, as a soul is a big aspect of navigating everything, including the relationships then, right?
Oh yeah, you got to become out of the unconsciousness of the matrix where the ego is in charge. Let me find you a
Mhm.
picture here. Hang on,
Mhm.
explain what's going on here. The awakening process. Just got to see. Where's my picture? These are diagrams from soul contract reading training. Okay,
Mhm.
all right. So this axis is time.
Mhm.
This axis is intensity.
Mhm.
So when we first wake up in this matrix, in the soul contract, our physical aspects, the karma, tolerance, and goals are running strongest. So this keeps us very asleep initially, mostly asleep.
Mhm.
And our spiritual aspects are dormant. They're starting to activate, but not as strong. So if we consciously work on ourselves, we're going to go as fast as we can. But if it's not so conscious, it takes longer. So the amount of physical karmic issues to work through in our physical part of the chart gets less over time as we have life experience to work it through, including relationships. Okay, so as that happens, the spiritual aspects start to come online, and
Mhm.
they're online all the time. But between the ages of 35 and 42, we move from the predominance of the physical numbers in our soul contract to the spiritual numbers becoming more predominant. Doesn't mean they take
Mhm.
over, just that they're more predominant.
Mhm.
And when we get to the point of what we call um, this crossover point between 35 and 42, this is this sixth cycle of 7 years. That's when the
Mhm.
spiritual energy becomes more normally more predominant in the physical aspects. That means we're more conscious. As we proceed along here and the physical stuff dissolves and we bring the spiritual aspects of our soul contract online, we become more conscious. So we can actually, like I said earlier, we're aware of witnessing ourselves doing stuff and stuff happening. Okay, so the idea
Mhm.
is to become as conscious as possible and dissolve as much of our soul contract as possible so that we become, eventually, we have a dissolved ego. Okay, um, where we have dissolved our ego construct. So we have less of a barrier between us and God. And as we do that, our ego surrenders and it becomes um, a servant, a walking, talking expression of higher consciousness. And the intense relationships we have in life are a part of dissolving, accelerating that dissolution of the ego.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's,
Well,
well,
I love this chart, because I mean that people do say usually, well, we get more spiritual as we get older, right?
this is showing you
Right.
why that
And
happens.
it's good to see this like this visual. That's why I recommend people are listening, keep listening, but also go to YouTube if you're not on YouTube, so you can see these charts. It's helpful to see things visually, it helps you to take that in and it helps you to understand your life more too. Because like, okay, when I was starting to have a family and growing my business and everything, I was still like in the physical aspects, but also, getting into the spiritual aspects deeper and deeper. And then I started having a period in my life going from, I would say, what, about 47 till um, up until like the year or two ago, I was more in oh, it's just all about just being in the moment and enjoying my life and serving people maybe at a high level one to one and um, enjoying my family and just kind of being chill and which was totally not where I was focused before that. I was more like time to go, it's time to build, and I'm more in that phase now again. So like all these cycles too within all that, but I'm coming from it from a different uh perspective. I'm different, right? So yeah, it's really fascinating to see our growth and to see how we're progressing on looking at a chart like this makes you think about that.
Yeah, well, we change over time. This is how it actually works. This is the mechanism here.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fantastic. So, yeah, and I can see where in my relationships I've come more to a place of even more acceptance of myself and others. And yeah, and the love, I would say my heart chakra just I feel like is just continue to expand a lot has been one of the big ones for me. Like there was a time in my life with my heart. I've always had this strong heart, but like there's times like, oh, animals, whatever, they're animals. Like I didn't have the heart chakra open to animals. Like it was a growth phase for me to open my heart chakra. So we didn't really have, animals. Well, we had some. We had a rabbit and a hamster, but now we have a cat, which is a little bit more of a personal connection than like a rabbit or whatever. And so like I feel like that's evolved. Like like it's all these different things evolve. We evolve in our relationship with nature and animals on top of humans too, right? So
Oh, yeah, it's all part of it. Yeah.
yeah,
Our ego has free will choice of how we work through our soul contract. So maybe if I do a refresher of your chart, Daniel, and then we can talk about how
yeah,
you and I interact. Okay. Then
yeah, that'd be fantastic.
then the viewers can actually get a good feel for what's really going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the soulcontractreader.com software, which you guys can generate your own free charts from here. You get 4 free charts. I'll just go back to the basics of the software here. Um, look at Daniel's birth chart, which you'll see in the part 1 reading. I'll just do a brief refresher, especially for new people. Okay. So basically, sound is creative, and we use 22 ancient Hebrew sounds and letters, which come out of the movement of Great Spirit or Source in the creation of this universe to decode a name, the name on the birth certificate. And Daniel's soul chose this name based upon reviewing all of its past life experience and said, what will be the optimal learning experience for me to grow in unconditional love? So it chooses a next increment of experience. So it's like going up to the next level of class in school. You don't go to the 2 classes out, you go to the next one, which is you're ready for. It's going to stretch you, but it's not going to break you, even though it may feel like it at times. All right.
Hmm.
So you're never allowed to go into a class that you're not ready for. So just so you know, guys, that whatever challenges you're facing in your life, they're there because your soul believes you can actually overcome them, even though your ego may be screaming, I don't think so. This is a bit overwhelming. Occasionally, souls make misjudgments, but most of the time they get it right. So what we do is that the software here matches the sounds of English, the sounds of Hebrew. Okay. This is Daled, Aleph, Nun, Yud, Hey in Hebrew.
Hmm.
And it does all the hard work. And each of these has a number inherent within it. Okay, so numbers are not allocated like conventional, say, Pythagorean numerology. They're inherent within Hebrew, which makes this work so powerful. So the truth of it is so strong because it's literally the frequencies of God we're dealing with. There's no reduction in frequency with us. Okay, so we take these Hebrew frequencies and we decode them on the Star of David. So on the Star of David, this is like a gateway of consciousness, and we all have to come through this to be allowed onto this Earth school of Earth. Okay, you've got to have a certain ego construct built. It's like your life. It's like your avatar, your ego avatar. You've got to have to be allowed into the playground of the school of the earthly matrix. So the large upward pointing triangle represents the physical side of life, which is where you spend predominantly the first 5 cycles of 7 years, 35 years as you saw in the previous diagram. And so when you transition between 35 and 42, the midlife crisis or spiritual awakening or dark night of the soul, what can happen earlier nowadays, the spiritual triangle becomes more predominant, as we showed you on the diagram. So when enough physical lessons have been learned, the spiritual triangle activates. So Daniel, when did your spiritual awakening occur? How old were you?
Wow. I mean, that's a loaded question. I don't know. It's one of those like I don't know when it started. I started. I was having, spiritual experiences that I didn't know were spiritual experiences really young. But as far as formally studying, and connecting spiritually would have been in the 90s. I would say 90, what was it, 98 maybe, something like that. Yeah, 98, I would say.
How old were you then?
So I would have been, what, 29?
Okay, so you were on the fourth cycle, fifth cycle. You're just starting. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
fifth cycle to awaken, so earlier. So the spiritual experiences became stronger than because it means you'd done enough of the physical work, not all of it, but enough of it to build a good foundation for the spiritual triangle
Mm-hmm.
to build itself upon.
Mm-hmm.
So in each of these aspects, I'm just doing this briefly as a recap. We have karma, talents, and goals in the physical. Karma is the unresolved past life issues the soul brings in as learning to create these negative experiences, this negative context, so all the stuff we don't want in life turns up so we can overcome it. Okay. And the physical talents activate to overcome it if it's a good match. Therefore, the karma starts to transmute into the positive aspects of this number, 10-1 in this case. I'll explain it in a little while. So that you you get the gift of service. So people ask, well, what's my purpose here? And the last place they would think of looking is in their karmic patterns, the most challenging stuff, which is in their face, in their life. But the idea is to bring consciousness to it, which the ego will try and avoid if it can, which is why people get stuck, and to transmute it into the positive 10-1 energy. And as the talents get stronger and overcome it, if it's a good match, that moves us towards the physical goals. What gets us out of bed in the morning? What excites us about life? So energy flows from karma to talents to goals, physically and then spiritually. All right. And if we consciously know what's going on, it's a lot easier. Or it's half the battle understanding what's going on. And if we consciously work on all these 6 outer aspects over time, this is percentage complete. Most people do this. It goes very slow. But if you know what's going on, you're going to go a lot faster like that. As you work this through, it contributes towards manifesting the soul destiny, our true purpose here.
Mm-hmm.
And you get layers of soul destiny. You hit certain thresholds of completion of the outer aspects, and you get another layer, and they turn up when you're ready. So a lot of our whatever life is to become is unknown because we're not ready. We haven't hit that level of development of consciousness. Okay, so it's really important to consciously work on yourself, people, because there are lots of gifts, lots of wonderful things are going to happen. You have no idea what's going to happen, but it's going to be good stuff usually by working through these outer aspects. So the way we calculate these numbers, we take these numbers, we start at physical karma, we allocate them in a clockwise expanding spiral. Okay. And then we do some maths, add the numbers up. Because these 22 numbers, we have to have numbers 22 or less, say 28, okay, 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1, 21 is fine, 2 plus 1 is 3, 24 is greater than 22, so 2 plus 4 is 6. So we work out all the numbers here, and the soul of Moses channeled to Frank Apple, my teacher, the meaning of these numbers, depending on where they are in the chart. Okay, and these channel symbols are like gateways that tell me what's going on. And we take these physical numbers, put them on top half of this table, spiritual numbers on the bottom half, add them up to get 67 and 22. There's no meaning in it because it's greater than 22. So we go 6 plus 7 is 13. 2 plus 2 is 4. It has to be a single digit number. So that's soul destiny. Daniel's reason for being here goes in the middle.
Mm.
So I'll summarize Daniel's chart for you guys. So Daniel's here. What was your relationship like with your dad?
Relationship with my dad. I mean, I don't know how to again begin some of these conversations, but I guess I felt mostly unconditional love. Growing up, like during summers, he'd work a lot. I remembered, where is he? He's working out, I remember that. But then he'd be off in the winters, and he'd be a lot of times he just like I just loved like he'd get my lunch ready or whatever when I come home, and I come home for lunch, back then. And I don't know, just a sense of unconditional love, but he also is sort of in his own world. Like he's the type of guy who sit down with the potato chips and just stare at the TV screen, kind of in his own world. So, loving, not always super engaging, but kind of a pleasant, connection overall. And of course, we have challenges with everybody in life, but mostly I would say with him, a sense of just being quiet, not really interfering or getting involved in my life either, though. That was always something I ultimately saw as a negative. Like you're not showing enough interest in my life and engaging enough. But there was a lot of unconditional love and support at the same time.
Yeah, so this was part of this is Father God here. This is the
Hmm.
balanced masculine and feminine aspects of God. So in a
Hmm.
karmic pattern, you chose to have separation from Father God in the form of your father not being present with you as much as you'd like. He was there some of the time, but not all the
Yeah.
time. So this creates a
Hmm.
disconnect from Father God. And the idea of that, an attempt creates a denial of God, plus a
Hmm.
simultaneous connection to God. So it's a bit, messes with the mind a bit. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I mean, it's about right. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So the idea here is to reconnect to Father God, Father and Mother God with the 10, and Father God here to overcome that. Because once you do that and the channel opens, you have this connection, the spiritual connection that allows you to carry this mission out. Because you've been quite spiritual for most of your life. And then
Hmm. Yeah.
the talents here are sixes, and they are here to get them to be focused and creative and get on with things, make it happen. Are you good at that? You good at staying focused and businesslike, making it happen?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have that in my nature for sure. Yeah. But I'm not always fully engaged with that. There's been times I'm like, I just don't care that much about that, but I always come back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, we can get distracted
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
get, even if some talents, you have lots of ideas and you get distracted by trying to do too many things at once.
Hmm.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
The physical goals here is to take lots of ideas and knowledge and discern what's your truth and build your own unique structure of truth and throw away the stuff that doesn't matter to you and to develop emotional resiliency to share that truth in the world.
Hmm.
Okay. And in spiritual karma, this is saying you're here to be a communicator, teacher. You run all these podcasts. How long have you been doing that for?
Well, the podcast since 2020, I had a blog talk radio show too in 2009 to 2016, I think, or something like that. So yeah, I've been doing this sort of thing for a while.
Yeah. So you're a communicator of deep
Yeah.
soul wisdom in this three, and you had to become worthy to be loved by your father. The absence of father leads to triggering the program of not being worthy to be loved. So does that sound familiar?
Well,
Fit,
I mean, like I said, I felt the love of my dad. I just felt like he wasn't involved enough in my life. So in that way, maybe, some part of my consciousness might be like, wow, I don't know, how much does he love me if he isn't more involved or whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of the split I had with him. It's just I wanted him to be more involved when I was growing up.
yeah. So the idea here is to heal and clear out the unworthiness to be loved with healing.
Hmm.
Okay, as you reconnect to Father God. Okay,
Hmm.
and then that will bring out the deep soul wisdom within you as a
Hmm.
communicator teacher. I mean, you
Hmm.
host all sorts of interesting people on your show to communicate spiritual knowledge, really, don't you?
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And the 21 is saying you had to endure. This is the divine mother aspect of God. So this is saying you had to endure and overcome a lot of challenges and hardship, especially when you were younger. Was that the case?
Um, yeah, I mean, I was really shy, and especially when I got into high school was like where I really dropped off the cliff. I was depressed and to myself mostly, and yeah, that was a real challenge. High school was for sure.
This is the two. This is the depression here. This little
Hmm.
spring got compressed by this big weight of emotional um, unresolved issues from the family. The 11 here
Right.
malabsorbed a lot of the family issues. You are the what I call the emotional processing unit of the family. You're
Emotional what?
emotional processing unit. You're the sensitive empath,
Yeah,
processing everyone's unresolved emotion, but it loaded you down, which is why you got depressed.
right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's what the sensitive ones in the family do.
Yeah.
So you got to basically clean it all out, and then your spring will move up and down, and
Mhm.
then you'll be able to be happier.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you head into you do it the easier way. Okay. The ego will try not to do it the hard way, but it's built great strength for you. This is a divine mother energy. The energy is just stuck initially, but you got to get them moving. So it looks like a smiley face. Okay.
Yeah.
So and the spiritual talents here is where you have a great connection to God, God consciousness. So you're here to channel through higher consciousness and ideas and serve people. I mean, you're here to really, you're born to serve, Daniel, with spiritual energies. That's the mission.
Hmm.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And the goals here, this is the most powerful number in the chart, is this dragon energy. You're here to come into your power and be a catalyst to awaken others.
Hmm.
Okay.
Tell me more about the dragon energy.
So this means that you may have in past lives misused power and been
Right.
self-destructive. So
Right.
you may have abusive situations in this life when you were younger, which trigger this past life misuse of power. And the idea is to access that shadow. We call it a shadow destroyer archetype, and to access
Hmm.
that and transmute it into positive catalytic energy to awaken others.
Hmm.
So does that sound familiar? Having disempowerment to overcome like being bullied at school and stuff like that, or
Oh yeah, bullying and whatnot. Yeah, some of that happened for sure. And yeah, just the sense, just even small things. I felt so wounded by it sometimes. Like other things that other people hear the story, they're like, "What? That like crushed you, and you dealt with that for decades?" I'm like, "Yeah, right," because it was all from past life stuff, the connections with these characters. So
but also you're very sensitive empath. So um, the majority of people wouldn't affect them, but because you're a sensitive
yeah,
light worker, it went very deep. Some of the stuff that goes on.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was perfectly normal to feel wounded that way.
It's
But
so interesting because the part of the problem was like I was trying to protect everybody in the class from one new person that came in that had flunked a grade, and I could tell the influence he would have on the class. So I was
he
like,
what
okay,
he
I'm gonna
what
befriend.
he what he was. I didn't catch that. What did he do?
Oh, he flunked a grade, so then he ended up in our class,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Up till then, like I was happy. I felt like I was in my flow with the class and stuff. And around fourth grade, this happened, and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna ruin everything. Like I could just feel this vibration, at that age, and I'm like, I just feel what's happening, and I just okay, it literally developed a strategy. All right, I'm gonna befriend. He wasn't a bully at first, but like he just like I could feel it in him, this bad energy, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna befriend him. I'm gonna start being a clown, I'm gonna be his jester clown, like when so I'll do things and maybe I'll even let him tell me to do things and I'll do it and all that. And that way I'll distract him. Maybe he won't hurt other people. And then in fifth grade, I turned against him basically. I said, no, I'm not going to do you. I'm not going to be your jester anymore. And he's like, then he turned on me, and all of a sudden, and was my big wound, like the way it showed up was my big wound in childhood. And something really until like maybe just a few years ago, I was unpacking like for decades. I mean, I don't feel like that's something that's pressing on me consciously anymore, but like it's with me for a long, long time. And I think it's a lot of this like people having power over me, and but also my sense of the power I can have on other people, right? Like, because I can be a strong energy when I choose to be, like in a way that really can be very enrolling, very powerful for people. So then, I've had to deal with that shadow, and I've come to at least a better place, much better place with that. But I know there's always more levels, so definitely
Well,
more of the
this is the nine. This is about bringing out the dark side, and him turning on you is the betrayal. Nines always have betrayal. Okay, and that creates a wound. It brings out the past life, misuse of power.
Yes.
Okay, so your job is to feel that shadow destroyer energy triggered by that betrayal by this person who flunked, then transmute it consciously through shadow work into positive power to catalyze change for the better in the world. And this soul destiny, 13.4, is the divine feminine energy. This is you trying to look after the class, take care of others unconditionally. So you're protecting them with your love. Okay? And that's what that is about. So you came here to look after everybody, nurture them. Okay? So, and this is standing up to misuse of power from the masculine as well. So you had two of them here. Okay? Running. So overall, you came here to come to a place of unconditional love for others and trust in the flow, to serve the world, come into your power, be a teacher, communicator, in a very grounded, focused way, and share as a teacher your own unique structure of knowledge.
Yes.
Okay? That's the summary of your life. And catalyze and empower people in the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's the baseline chart. You can think of this as like the cake of your life. So if we move to the next level here on relationships, just have a little drink here. Okay. So here we've got your birth name. And on the software, this is under the overlay tab. We've got your current name, which is like a layer of icing. This is the cake of your life, which is this name. And if we change color here, this layer of icing here is this name. It infuses different frequencies into the birth name to help you grow in different ways. Okay, and we've got my name here as well. It's my birth name, common name from birth, and current name. So we're going to talk about the effect of and relationships, relationship to yourself. How does the commonly used name affect you? Okay, what does it actually do here? This one. So we get a chart. So instead of a Star of David now, we have the birth name, the cake of Daniel's life, with physical karma, talents, and goals, spiritual karma, talents, and goals, and soul destiny elite. This is a layer of icing infusing pure frequency into the birth name. So read it slightly differently.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is you've got 3-10-1s here, very unusual. So these are all about using spiritual energy, moving in curves, coming to the earth plane to disseminate healing and knowledge. So this name was saying, you're here to be of pure service to humanity with spiritual energies. Okay, this is the mission. You didn't come here to do anything really physical, Daniel. And this is infusing the service, spiritual being of service into all aspects of this chart here. So what happens is that the karmic aspect goes to the adjacent karmic aspect. Physical talent, physical karmic aspect. Physical talents goes into this talent gateway, we call it, to affect your physical talents. And what it does is it brings service to the way you focus and do business and create in the world. But it also goes up here to the adjacent physical karma and the adjacent physical goals. So this is the negative expression of 10-1. This is the denial of God, disconnection, disempowerment, like a father. This is the positive one, which is complete connection to God, Mother, Father, God, and the divine masculine. So this is perfect. It's called a karmic lock for overcoming the disconnection. Okay, and you had it from the time you were born, which is why the disconnection, while it was, is nowhere as bad as it could have been if you didn't have that number. Okay. I mean, this is very rare to see 3-10-1s, let alone in the same aspects. So it's saying you were born to be of spiritual service, Daniel. Does that feel like that? This is the whole point of life, to serve others.
Right, it is. I think I teach business because I want to spread that more, and I feel business is one of the ways I can help contribute to that. But obviously, I teach all the other stuff, all this, the frequency stuff, and do energy healing and teaching people energy scanning and healing, and helping other people to unleash their own unique spiritual gifts and all that stuff. And then I'm like, okay, but if you want to do a business, I can help you with that too, because I do have knowledge, wisdom, talents to help people to, be able to do some of that as well.
Yeah, you're here. Six is the business number. It's about being very grounded, focused. So here's where we're going, and here are the steps. So you step by step by step to get over here to get your business going. So you say, focus over here,
Hmm.
one small step at a time, but always
Hmm.
keep an eye on the goal, not getting
Hmm.
distracted,
Right.
not doing that. That's why you're good at business. And you're here
Hmm.
to support them emotionally and give them a
Hmm.
structure for running a
Hmm.
business.
Right. Right.
See, that's what's going on
Hmm.
there.
Totally.
And you're serving them that way. So, what sort of people do you serve? Are they very spiritual or just all sorts? All sorts.
I would say the best way to put it is healers, healer types, empaths, energy sensitives, those type of people.
Okay, all right. Well, it makes sense because you're here to serve spiritually. So
Hmm.
let's look at the bottom half of this chart. So in spiritual karma, you've got a 16-7, and this is pure frequency going across. 16 is about taking high-level spiritual concepts and expressing them with an open heart in plain English, the man in the street. So you find when you're helping people, you can do that. You can translate these high-level ideas into something they can easily grasp
Oh yeah,
in
we
plain
just did that in
English.
my class the other day. I'm like, you don't need a year-long class to learn how to channel. I can teach you in 10 minutes. Like that's my approach. Like, so we did that with one of the participants. She started channeling the council right away. I just had to get her through her resistance to trust what I was outlining for her. And I grounded it with more teaching, but like to actually just do it took 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So you figured out how to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the grounding of the spiritual energy here. The six is like this one up here. The six is about being spiritually creative. Okay, but it's
Hmm.
also very grounding. Are you artistic, Daniel?
What's that again?
Are you artistic in any way?
Probably, but I wouldn't consider, I'm one of those people. I'm not artistic, but it's possible I'm artistic. I tend to, that's something I probably could stand to nurture more is my art, my, pure artistic side. I am a creative type for sure. So if that counts, but I don't do like artwork, like traditional art.
Yeah. What's the other creative part of you? I think you'd find more creative work. Artistic expression would open up your business creativity and your spiritual creativity as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like I can be very creative with that. And then also with creative writing is something I really do enjoy when I take the time to do it. I just don't do a whole lot of it. It was actually my first major in college because I really do love creativeness.
Yeah. This is creative here, and this is the writer,
Hmm.
communicator.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this is very creative and grounding. Ground your nine so you can feel the disempowerment. Ground you so you can feel the unworthiness to be loved. The
Hmm.
seven here is about learning to heal the wounded heart
Hmm.
from the absence of your father. And tell me
Hmm.
about your mother, saying issues with the mother as well when you were younger.
Yeah, my mom growing up, it goes through phases of relationships, right? I would say like she was more, yeah, she was the sense of like she's always there, I can always have my mom to turn to, just with the sense of the motherly presence and comfort. So for me, like my mom, now she did do a lot of like once I got a little bit older, she'd do a lot of like talking on and on about her own self and not showing a lot of attention to me, more so a little bit more towards just herself. And so I was doing a lot of just trying to help her, I think. And she did help me too, but there was a lot of this imbalance, like a weird kind of a relationship, really. And that's how it was growing up.
Yeah, so the 13 in Soul Destiny is a bit karmic. basically it's an imbalance with the relationship with the mother, all the things you just described.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I felt so connected to my mom to where I found out later, like unconsciously, I didn't want a girlfriend because I thought it was a betrayal of my relationship with my mom. That's how weird it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it becomes an inappropriate relationship with the mother.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay. So the seven here is about healing the wounded heart, especially from what happened with your dad. And the seven puts out a facade, public facade. Say, look at this, but don't look at the wounded child
Hmm.
who's it doesn't have the connection with his father that he needed. And the
Hmm.
idea is to heal the wounded child, then merge these two together to become one person. And
Hmm.
magnetic, open your heart so the soul magnetic draw the right people to you. So it's
Hmm.
about being your authentic self and feeling safe to do that and discovering that
Hmm.
the more you share your authentic self, the more with an open heart, the more people around you will have to share their truth because
Hmm.
sharing that love of the heart is very high frequency. And if they either have to share their true self or they have to leave the room because they can't share
Right.
at a lower, more superficial level.
Right.
And this is
Right.
about building networks of like-minded people. Like,
Mhm.
how big is your podcast audience? You
Well,
know?
I mean, it's going to be healer types, empath sensitives, also spiritual entrepreneur types, those that want to awaken spiritually, but they're all going to be sensitives, empaths, and types. That's who they are.
How many people are there? Do you have any idea?
Oh, how many? Yeah, that's hard to measure because of all the different metrics, but yeah, we're in the top 2% in the world is the best number I can come up with. I don't even follow my downloads anymore because I just really don't think they matter as they matter completely. Like, but yeah, 2%, top 2%. So I would say of all the people that have listened to everything, we definitely at least tens and tens of thousands easily, and probably hundreds of thousands somewhere in there.
Yeah. So this is the hundreds of thousands of people. You're building a network of like-minded
Hmm.
people through them as you open your heart more. Okay. And the numbers
Hmm.
will keep increasing the more you heal the heart.
Hmm.
So you're
Hmm.
synergizing them into a network of a greater whole. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. That's what this is. The 14.5 is about reflected being. Okay. So do you find your relationships with others have been intense through your life?
Well, with my mom right now, especially, she's got yeah, anyways, challenges, and it's been intense what she's dealing with, and then my empath part like just drowns in that sometimes. It's really hard. Like it's hard for any sensitive person to be around her, really, when she's in this state, which I don't want to get too deep into here, but so that's intense. Sometimes, relationship, yeah, in other ways, not as bad. I would say that's the one area where it's really intense.
Yeah, the intensity is designed to mirror to you multidimensionally parts of yourself you haven't seen. So you learn about
Ah,
yourself through
okay.
these intense relationships with mother and other key people in your life. But they also
Mm-hmm.
learn about themselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the motto of the 14 is I relate, therefore I am. If you're by yourself isolated, you wouldn't know who you were. You wouldn't grow.
Mm.
And the
Yeah,
five is
like
about,
people are listening though, I'd be so totally at peace though. I just have to throw that joke in there.
yeah. Well, I think the intensity is going to be around for a while.
Right, right.
So
Oh,
the
I'm sure. Yeah.
so the thing with the 14 is learn to pace it. If you're feeling burnt out from these intense relationships, take a break. Okay,
Yeah.
because you're a hypersensitive empath, otherwise you're going to burn out. Have
Right.
some alone time. Lie down. Do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's good.
And the five's about learning to speak the truth, no matter what, overcoming past life persecution for speaking the truth. Did you get in
Mm-hmm.
trouble as a kid for speaking the truth?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always got in trouble with my parents. They probably would argue with that, but like I would speak the truth, they'd be like, "You're always arguing with us," and all that sort of stuff. So, why can't you just go with what we say?
Yeah, it's because you know
Yeah,
it's not
because
true. You
I
see, that's
can't
the
stand for
reason.
non-truths. Yeah, right?
Yeah. Got to spit it out no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's you. So you got the cake of your life with your birth name. You got the overlay like icing that feeds into that to help you grow. So let's talk about how we interact. So I'll summarize my chart. This is my birth name. I'm here to overcome unworthiness, to be loved, to learn to step up and express myself in the world as a teacher. And the 17 is expression of the word of God or high consciousness out in society, and to learn to get out there and ground in society and reach a lot of people. I've got a 9 like you here, which is about a lot of disempowerment as a child. Okay, to learn to overcome that, to come into my power and trust myself. 22 is about blending a mind, body, and soul, connecting to source and sharing that in the world. So it means I'm learning to draw on all that knowledge, to share knowledge. This is for teaching. 4 is about trusting in the flow of life, trusting that new things will come and just accepting them unconditionally. And the other 9 here, these 4 of them, is also about discernment and coming into my power. So that's my cake. And my layer of icing here, look, I've got a 14.5 like you. This is why we get on. We like intensity. This has been a reasonably intense conversation. Okay. I like intensity, although it's taken me a while to realize a lot of people can't handle it. They can't pace it. They can't handle the pace. So I too have learned
I experienced that too.
yeah, trying to back it off a bit, but it's just our nature. We seek out intense people because we know we can just be ourselves and learn about ourselves.
Right. That's true.
I have an 11 here. I was very lost as a child and a young man. I didn't structure in life. Okay. But that was to learn a structural truth to share it. And I had to spend a lot of time just saying, well, what is my truth? More grounding here. This clashes with this 8 here. This means that I ground myself with this. The 6 means I was quite rigid as a child. I had to be a certain way. Still am at times on some issues. 7's about building networks. 1 is about connecting to the divine masculine. My father was old school. He would just work and feed the family. Didn't have a lot of time, personal time for us. It's hard to emotionally connect with him. So yeah, I had a missing father, basically emotionally and physically. Even though he was at home, he was just working all the time.
Right.
So the way the overlay effect goes, this layer of icing, the 11 gives me structure for teaching. The 5 creates intensity so I can burn through emotional numbness and learn to emotionally connect with people. This 8 ungrounds me because it's a clash. The 6 grounds my 9. The 7 connects me with people to share knowledge. This one's like a dissemination of knowledge, healing and knowledge, Archangel Michael. This is about sharing knowledge, sharing the flow of nature, God's abundance. This optimal name, a new concept, people. This is where when the soul feels that you've learned enough from your birth name, your birth name, and your commonly used name in my case, it's layer of icing. It then, if and when the time is right, you can undertake name optimization. And you can find out on our website. If you look up soulcontractreadings.com, http://soulcontractreadings.com, you can find out that name optimization. Within us, there's all of us, there's an optimal name, which if discovered at the right time, allows us to burn through all these issues here, plus get on with our mission much more quickly. So this name is built to attract people, for me to teach them with unconditional love of the divine feminine, like you have. We have a lot of similar energies. Source energy to be very versatile, which you need to be as an spiritual entrepreneur, to share that energy. So it brings the flow of people and the flow of love. So what happens is that this 13 I can just intend things now because I've got clear enough. A lot of times I intend something, they just turn up. And it's like, where did that come from? Out of nowhere. And I've learned
Right.
you learn with a 4 to unconsciously accept what turns up, figure out what to do with it in detail later. Just say yes. Have you had that, Daniel? Just things
That's
turn
my
up?
soul destiny. That's my
Yeah,
soul destiny, right? So
same
it's
one.
yeah.
Are
That
you
makes a
learning
lot of
to?
sense too
Yeah,
when
do
you
you have
say
that?
that. So, okay.
Yeah. What sort of things are
Yeah,
happening for
yeah,
you?
absolutely. I mean, lately I was just clear I wanted to get on more stages and whatnot, and then I just started having all these summit hosts reaching out to me, like even people I had no like just coming to my website. Like for
Yeah,
years I didn't have anything like that because I wasn't focused on that. And I wasn't like thinking about that. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go, and then all of a sudden, and I find a lot of times it's not exclusive at all, but like a lot of times the best things just kind of drop into my lap,
yeah. They
and
just turn up.
the best opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that with my business. I say, well, I need a certain type of person. And usually about 7 to 10 years
Mm-hmm.
later, 10 to they say they turn up. And people have been telling me
Hmm.
it recently in the past couple of months. I want to come and work for you. Here's what I can do. And I look at them
Right.
thinking, you're just what I asked for. It happened actually just
Right.
before this
Right.
meeting. My
Yeah.
business partner, he said, someone's gone and asked us for a job. I said, really? And then I looked at their background thinking, they're perfectly qualified. So we're going to talk to her tomorrow. You see, so because I put it out there, we need this type of person in this new role as the business builds. You see. So and I just trust it. With the 13, you've got to let go and trust it. I have no expectation. Then the
Yeah.
universe says, okay, there's no expectation, there's no desire. Desire actually pushes things away because it's saying, I don't have it. I just say, I need
Right.
this, I forget about it, and then it just turns up. Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
actually,
that's same here. Same here. That's when the ease of manifestation is beyond all, people's usual beliefs, right? Like it's
yeah,
just like, yeah, yeah, I just want this, and all of a sudden, like it just turns up right away,
yeah. And
right?
the most important thing is to let it go and have no attachment to it coming.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I don't have any longing for it. It's not like I'm
yeah,
like, I've got to have it. Oh my God, I desire it. You're right. I mean, it's not that type of thing. It's like I just was clear about what I wanted, and I just, yeah, like you said, let it go. In that sense, like I'm not really, sticky. I'm not sticky about it. I'm just like, yeah, that's just what I wanted, and you let go of it because you just put in your order, right? And like, and
yeah,
then all of a sudden it does turn out. So I think, I don't know if it works that way. For everybody on a universal level so easily like that. I was be curious about your perspective, but I think it's possible for everybody to experience a lot more of that.
yeah. Well, for 13s especially, it's about trusting in the divine feminine.
Uh,
So you put it
uh,
out from your heart because it comes via the heart. Oh, we need this now.
mm,
Put it out to the universe, let go, forget about it, surrender. And the more we let go, when you're 100% let go, they turn up because there's nothing in the way. You see, the principle applies to everyone, but especially for 13s. Also, these sixes
right.
here are good at manifesting. Six is the most powerful manifester. You can manifest literally things out of thin air just with pure thought. If it's a deep emotional soul thing, I must have this, it will turn up. But it has to be in
Hmm.
alignment in what we call with the spiritual signature. What is in alignment with the
Right.
best, highest and best good for you spiritually in that moment?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's what I always say. Like, if the manifesting isn't an issue, it's like, what really wants to manifest, right? Like, I can, yeah, pull forth, pretty much whatever I would truly desire, right? Like, in a sense, like it just be like, boom, because I played with those things, I started learning all this stuff, but then I started realizing, like, okay, if you just get drunk with manifesting stuff, that's not the point, like, what really wants to happen, and learning to use that talent and that ability wisely.
Yeah. So if you follow the signature, the flow in each moment, I'll show you a diagram of that. It's another important concept. Because as we dissolve the ego, what happens is that we can follow the spiritual signature much more. And if we dissolve the ego by following working with our soul contract. So here, this is the path of suffering. A little human ego here that thinks it's in charge follows the path of suffering, the left brain of the mind.
Mhm.
As we wake up spiritually and expand our consciousness, we start to make a shift towards following the spiritual signature. So This is what I call the path of bliss. So what does that actually mean? Okay, it means that in each moment on the solid line here, there's one key action that follows what opens the heart the most. Soul opens our heart, saying it's this one and this one. If we converge on it gradually as we become aware of this, and you do it more and more, life opens and flows. Things just turn up. Things go with grace and ease. There's a lot less suffering, a lot less fear, there's more grace. Until when you're fully aligned, you're just the walking, talking expression of the soul because you've surrendered enough of the ego by dissolving the soul contract by knowing what it is, applying healing techniques to it. So the aim is to get to here, and that's called the blessed life, or upon the path of bliss, where you just in the moment, no desire. Okay, we're gonna do this now. It just comes to you in your heart. Sound familiar, Daniel?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not always on that path, in all honesty, right? I mean, sometimes I'm like, well, let's make this happen. Let's make it hard, And but yeah, that when I'm in my flow, which is a lot more lately again, yeah, things are just popping up, turning up for you.
yeah. So here, just going to get this diagram up for a little bit. So yeah, the 13th floor is about letting go into the flow.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
And in my spiritual part of the chart, so this is designed to attract people for me to train them to be practitioners to raise consciousness. That's why we have the Center for Conscious Ascension, train cutting edge alternative therapists. It's put lots of grounding energy in my soul here in the spiritual part of the chart to help me feel my way through my disempowerment, which is what it's done here. This one comes across this talent gateway, this grounded 8, grounds this one here, which I've done a lot of trauma clearing because of these numbers, because I could feel the issues. Previously, I couldn't feel them. And to ground me in nature, to accept the flow. And this 5 is a new one here. This has made me more sensitive and more open to higher consciousness, just knowing stuff. Okay. And being a pioneer and expressing truth. And this is what I've been sharing here on the 4. It helps pioneering truth be shared. And the 9 is reminding me I'm here to come into my power. So I got this name in 2006. I've had it for 20 years and my life has radically changed. Radically changed. And they're teaching me things like what they do now is they say, okay, we need to go and invest this in the business. I said, well, we've got to pay the mortgage. We'll do this. They said, just pay it. Just do this. And a few days later, money turns up to pay for that bill. And the mortgage still gets paid. So they're teaching me to really trust it. And the trusting gets greater and greater.
Right.
And they had me buy a piece of healing equipment for myself last week. And within hours of buying it, someone bought a big package of trainings. Okay. So what happens is that you've got to trust what the guidance is, and then the bills get paid. Basically, it's saying God will pay the bills. That's the way these fours work. God will pay the bills because you're on a mission from God. Sounds like the Blues Brothers, I know. But literally, when you're in the flow, reading the flow, it's just like trust the flow, do as you're told, okay, as you're guided to. You're not in charge. You're the vehicle for divinity to come through to raise consciousness.
Right.
So that made me realize I'm not doing this by myself at all. I'm actually allowing all these high frequent consciousness energies to deliver this mission on Earth. Right. They've got a clear plan. So I basically do as I'm told, and then
honestly,
good stuff happens.
That's where all the good stuff is, isn't it? That's the same experience I have. It's like the most recent thing that's really been working really well for me in my business was completely out of the blue kind of like message. I actually came through another person, showed up as another person at first. And I'm like, oh, okay, that resonates. I'm going to do that. And then I fleshed out from there, but like they gave me the idea. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I did it. And I'm like, wow, this is taking off. This is great. And it's like, that's where it comes from. The out of the blue stuff is the stuff that does work the best, for me, for sure.
Yeah, because what's happening is this from the big picture, showing the diagram. So as we get emotionally clearer, as we clear our soul contract, and we have this connection that opens up to higher consciousness, it's the higher self, the part of us that created us that can see the big picture of our life, not the little self here, ego self, you know, in its bunker trying to just get through the matrix and survive. The higher self says, okay, we're going to go over here now. And it guides us over here and it works because we're following the flow, the divine flow. So the more connected to higher consciousness, the more it guides us, the more gracefully things happen. It's all coming from up here. It's not coming from in here, not coming
Right.
from our left brain. I mean, the chances of
Right.
getting it right, if you think about something, are 50-50. So the odds are a toss of a coin of getting it right. But the
Right.
odds of getting it wrong are pretty bad odds.
Yeah.
But the odds of following it, if you follow this, odds are 90 plus percent, provided you listen carefully, okay,
Yes.
and act upon it in the right timing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the mistake you can make there is to you hear something, you're like, oh, thanks for sharing. Let me take it from there, right? You got to keep listening.
You got to keep listening all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
what's next? And
Right.
and sometimes it doesn't seem logical following the spiritual signature, but if you follow it, when you look back, realize, there's a pattern here at all. But because I did this, this, and this, the whole thing came together. Okay,
Hmm.
it just worked because Spirit has a divine plan, and the more we trust the
Hmm.
plan, that 13, the more it beautifully unfolds. See, because we're instruments of God, really, light workers. We
Hmm.
just got to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. That's so
Just
true. That's so
just got to
liberating,
listen.
really. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're told like we have to think, right? So it always comes back to that idea of like, oh, you need to think it through. You need to be smart. You better be careful. You better just triple think it. You got to come up with a big plan. You got to engineer this thing and all that sort of thing.
It's
And
nothing to
like,
do with that at all. Nothing to do with that at
right, I
all.
know, but like that's what we've been told through schooling, really. I mean, we're not told like just go with the flow, whatever whatever comes through, that comes from your guides, go with it. Like we got zero of that training growing up, most of us. So
Well, it's the Western scientific method, which was deliberately introduced to disconnect us from spirit, to stop the very thing that we've been
yeah,
talking about for 2 hours. Because
yeah,
if you listen to higher consciousness, okay, you don't need any outside powers. You're sovereign, and you just
right,
if you follow that, the sound of God, the higher consciousness, higher self, life will unfold. But it's about getting emotionally clear enough by working through the issues in the contract, which is key to it. Because if you have too much ego stuff in the way, you can't plug in because you're disconnected. So getting connected is the first thing as you heal yourself and then keep working on it.
right,
Okay.
right. Yeah.
And then listening to the heart is much more accurate than the left brain. As I said, David Hawkins in his book Power versus Force says, it's one of the
Yeah.
most brilliant books on consciousness, says chances of getting it right listening to the ego mind are 50-50. So you can forget it. It's just bad odds.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know he said that. I did do a show on power versus force once, but I didn't know that part. Well, that's cool. Um, so how can so you've been pointing the way for people that want to you're probably wondering about themselves, right? I mean, this is great. You continue to outline how this all works, and helping me see more of myself and things. So. That's amazing. It's very, very help, guys. I mean, you could see, right? This is very helpful. Like me being reminded, hey, you're an incredible manifester, and you need to trust like what's dropping in. Like I need the reminder. Otherwise, my brain is like, wait a minute, what are we supposed to be doing? It's still there, right? It still wants to do that thing, and so the more I can just continue to trust that and all the things you share with me, and then with my relationships is very helpful. Like okay, you're meant to have intensity in relationships. It doesn't have to be intense all the time, right? But like it's been meant to experience that intensity. You're looking for it even, and that's good to know. Like that helps me be more at peace with it because every time it shows up now, I'm like, oh, this is part of my deal. Like I'm into the intensity. Okay, let's embrace that, and that helps all kinds of things grow. So, guys, this is really, really helpful to me, and I know this would be really helpful for you too. And I know that there's the opportunity to get their chart or the reading or the soul contract at the soulcontractreader.com. They can go there, right, to get all the stuff like you've been saying. And I'd love for you to share more how people can go, get as much of this as they want, to help them out.
Yeah. So yeah, go to soulcontractreader.com. You get up to free soul contract charts, and it's a small price fee for charts after that. You can find out what it means. Get my book, Your Soul Contract Decoded, on Amazon. HTTP forward slash or two forward slashes Your Soul Contract Decoded.com. You can find out all about that. But if you're in a hurry, you can get a new service we have called Your Soul Contract Report.com, where you can just enter your name and we generate a report for you, get it to you in 7 days. We make sure, and we have skilled practitioners looking after that to make sure it's correct. Some people are in a hurry. They asked us for the service because some people said, look, I've done the book once for me, but I want to know about 10 other people. Can I press a button? And so we built the software for that, yoursoulcontractreport.com. If you want to talk to a live experienced practitioner, go to soulcontractreadings.com. They're all with HTTP double forward slash in front of them. You can book on our website for that. If you want to learn how to do this work, if you're a therapist or want to become one and you want to help people with this work, go to HTTP forward slash soulcontractreadings.com. We run trainings 3 times a year. There's a spring one, which is just done, and an autumn one. And then there's one coming up in June as well in Asia Pacific. So you can find out about the trainings if you want to learn this. So it's all about, raising consciousness as much as possible, as many people as possible, because that transmutes all the negativity in the world, which we've had a lot of recently, and that creates a better world overall. You need a small number of people to reach a threshold of higher consciousness, and the world changes. That's why we call ourselves Center for Conscious Ascension. So that is center with an ER for consciousascension.net. You want to see overall what we do.
Oh, fantastic. I'm so grateful this work you're doing is so, and the way you bring you talked about your chart, but like I just say like just your frequency, what you're bringing forth and where who you be and how you're bringing this forth is really a big piece. The love, the peace, the connection that it brings for other people because of your frequency is a big piece of what's happening through this as well. And yeah, people in our intimate relationships experience this like intensity probably from us for sure. But then we also have the softness that people experience, right? We're similar that way, David, and people feel that. But yeah, I mean, we get down to doing the deeper work, like, yeah, then we could really ramp things up and find out if that's your path. See, maybe you guys need to be embracing more intensity. Maybe we're trying to run around it. Maybe you need to trust things more so things don't get so intense because you're not letting go enough. You're not trusting. You're not listening enough. But to get to really know, like for yourself, I highly recommend, you do this because it's just really great. I mean, even if stuff you sort of know, like I guess, I sort of know this stuff, but yeah, I know this stuff to some degree, but like to hear it, like, okay, this really is who you are. And it really helps to anchor it. It really helps you to lean into who you are and to trust it more, which is the big thing, to just trust who you really are and go with, living out your soul contract, in a way, in a way that's connected and really works for your highest good, for the highest good of everything. So I'm grateful for what you're sharing, Nicholas. This is really phenomenal work, and I'm really grateful for you being on and us doing this part two, right? So this is a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Thanks for having me, Daniel. That was good fun. I think we covered a lot of ground. Yeah, and thanks for sharing your chart and your current name and the audience so that people can grow.
Uh, Oh, yeah, my pleasure. So, all right, everybody. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Nicholas, again for being on today. And thank you for everybody tuning in. And if you want to check me out, by the way, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I do energy scans and all kinds of stuff. But if you opt in for the free gift, meditate, make money, who doesn't want to meditate and then make more money? Go ahead, take advantage of that. I offer energy scan opportunities for me to tune into you for my gifts to tune into your energies and your chakras and past lives and all kinds of details. So go ahead and check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. So I'm going to leave it there. Any last words of wisdom, though, before we sign off, Nicholas?
Um, yeah, I'd say in the current time, given all the changes, about being very grounded and present in the moment, and to feel in your heart the stability of your soul. Let it guide you, because there's so much strange, conflicting energy out in the world. Let spirit guide you, because that's that, and ground into it, and that will take you through, help you navigate through the world, because we're in massive transformation at the moment. Because it will guide you safely through the chaos of what we're going through, because we're moving into a new world. The old matrix is definitely breaking down, and we came here as light workers to build the new world, and it's inside you. Stay in your sovereignty, trust yourself, trust your own guidance, and then find the people who they'll come to you, who you're meant to work with to create this new world. It depends on us, not an outside force. That's what's going on there. So it's a pretty amazing time to be alive as we ascend.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Really, really incredible time. So, okay, thank you, Nicholas, and thank you to our audience. Like I always say at the end of each show, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till the next time, everyone.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.